Where did it go? Where did it go? And welcome to another episode of the long-awaited Paranormal Versus.
Yay! It's been a very long time since we were last on, and that's probably my fault. But yeah, we haven't been here since about June, have we, Michael?
I know we were going good, and then June hit, and we all decided, we'll take a break.
Yeah, the marriage does that to you. But anyway, we're back, and yeah, we've got a really interesting show ahead of it. But we just want to do a little bit of catching up. How you been, Michael?
I've been good. I just did my 50th episode of my show on Tuesday nights for this year, and it was a wild one. Thank you.
I can imagine.
And yeah, it was. I was so blessed to have the guest on that I had, because we turned what could have been a really bad scenario to a lot of fun.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
The best way to be, really.
Yeah, it's the joys of live. You just can't take some things back once they're aired.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, so, I like the background you got over there, the little webs.
It's basically my new studio. Yeah, so I thought Halloween, sticks up on cobwebs. So they're actually real cobwebs, by the way, made by special little spiders.
Man, I hope you didn't overwork them to get that many cobwebs.
Yeah.
You might have them on strike.
Yeah, well, they probably will be by the end of the show anyway, so.
No, those are cool spiders.
Thank you. I've came into a lot of vintage jewelry recently, a lot of vintage jewelry, and basically some of the stuff that's broken can't be fixed. I've been using that to make like little spiders and stuff like that, so I find them pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm like. I like making things.
Yeah, and talking about other ancient finds, don't you have a location you've been hanging out at lately?
Yeah, myself and Matt have been hosting events, paranormal nights down at the Ancient Ram once a month, and we're continuing to do that for the next year. So we've been going down there, taking guests around, and we get to spend the whole night there, just me and him, after the guests leave, and we've got some really interesting results at that place. I tell you what, it's unreal. Some of the things I caught a child's handprint in the bed. Basically, when the guests go, we'll make the beds properly, pick the teddy bears up, and put everything straight, nice and neat for the next guests. And me and Matt decided to do a little bit of investigating on my own. So nobody else had been in there. Turned around to the bed I had just made, and there was a child's handprint, a tiny little handprint, right next to the teddy bear. It was pushed right into the bed, and I got that on camera. So that was pretty neat. And then on Friday, the last one that we did, one of the Matt's guests caught an full apparition on a live iPhone photo. And basically it's some tall, obviously I don't know if it's a man or a woman because you only see the back of it, but it looks like a monk or somebody in a hooded robe. and it moves that fast into an area where nobody could possibly go because there's a tank in the way. And basically it moves at great speed. So whatever it was, it couldn't be human because it was that fast. And when we put that onto the actual ancient Ram group, somebody came forward with a photograph of the same thing of what we've seen. They said it's been seen a few times in that location. So it looks like we caught it, the picture of it.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. So that's what we've been up to anyway. So yeah, it's been great, and we're going to be doing a bit of filming soon, which I'm not going to give too many details, but there's some filmmakers making a film about myself and Matt doing the paranormal stuff. So that's coming up soon. So that's quite exciting.
Yeah. And let's see, for me, I did Parapalooza in Palestine, Texas, where I investigated a jail I had been to before and had new experiences of the trip ropes where it lights up when the electromagnetic hits certain sensors. And it was interesting watching that, how some would be constant in one spot while others were going off and would just randomly pop in and out. And the other interesting was on the night before this, you had a choice of going to what they call the 1912 house. Right. And so I did that, and I was getting a little electric pulse feeling in my wrist and on my temple, and I couldn't explain it. And I talked to a friend about it probably a week later, and she goes, "Didn't they used to have a sanitarium across the street from this place?" And I said, "Yeah, you know what? You're right. There was. It's been torn down." And she goes, "Yeah, you probably were experiencing what they felt when they had the electroshock treatments."
Oh,
wow. I was like, very possibly true. So that was cool. And we had a light that was on the bottom of the stairwell. Whether you flick the lights on or off, it would stay off. And then the lady that was leading our group, she goes by Call Me Claire. She would start talking and they would light up.
Wow.
And then she would mention something else and it would turn the light off. That's and it was responding to her, and it was that was the only light that would do it. So it was I can't explain why the bulb, we tried maybe, flicking the lights on and off on the switch, thinking maybe there's a short. Nope. It either was on or off. And it was on her to determine, I guess. The spirit was interacting with her. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was in September. And then I actually got to go last weekend on a Sunday. A friend invited me, and I took a friend with me to go to, they called it 31 Days of Denton Halloween. It's a town up north where I went to college.
All right, okay.
The town is starting to embrace the paranormal side, and so we got to go, of all places, a public library.
Wow.
And in this library, we were getting flashlight communication, we were getting periscope communication, EVPs were coming through.
Right.
People were talking about EVPs. People claim they saw apparitions. And it was an event where everyone took 20 minutes and there was 4 stations, so you could rotate around and then, you were done. And the host invited me. So after I went through all 4 stations, we just chatted and everything. And so it was really cool to meet new people, and actually had a couple of friends that were up there leading a station, so I got to hang out with them for a little bit. And Saturday I will be going to the History Haunts and Legends in Jefferson, Texas for my third time to hear some lectures and hang out with some friends that I met last weekend that are hosting a location. And so, yeah, I'm getting myself out to some events now.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I mean it's good. I mean this time of year, especially Halloween, it's like that's the best time to get out. I think anyway.
Halloween and the Day of the Dead. And we have Enoch is saying hello, hello.
Hi.
And Matt popped in and says, sorry I can't be on the show, but I'll be in here in the chat firing the questions.
Good. That's what we need, plenty of questions.
Yeah, you better ask some good ones, Matt.
Yeah.
We're expecting great questions from you.
Yeah, we definitely do. But Michael, do you want to introduce the guests?
I think it's about time, and I'm sure everyone is excited to meet our guests. There's a trio of them, and unfortunately one could not make it due to a conflict, but she promised when they come on again that she will do her best to make it to the next appearance. So keep in mind, there's already a part 2 in the works. So without further ado, I give you the amazing authors, Nicole Strickland and Denise A. Agnew.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming on.
I liked Nicole when I said part 2 in the works. She's over in the background going thumbs up, like, yeah.
Gotta support.
So can you tell our audience a little bit about the two of yous and the book that you guys collaborated on?
Sure. Who goes first? Denise, you want to go first?
Sure.
You come first in the alphabet. That's why. So
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
That happens to me a lot. Well, gosh, it's hard to know where to start. As far as I'm concerned, I've always been interested in the paranormal since I was a little kid, in a lot of different ways, just from, movies, television, all of that. My parents were great about letting me watch any kind of scary stuff that I wanted to watch, which was pretty weird for my group of friends because I was the one that got to see things that their parents wouldn't let them watch. And the fact that I had, was able to read pretty much anything that I was interested in. And to make a long story short, that hasn't stopped. I'm still obsessed with all of that. And when Marie and Nicole were first talking about doing this book, Marie said, hey, we ought to add Denise into this because Marie and I write screenplays together. And as writers, I'm just all up in anything that's got to do with a book. And this would be one of my first nonfiction books that I'm getting to participate in. And the fact that it was going to be about women who are on the fringe of things in the paranormal just was really exciting to me. And so I said, sure, I'd love to participate.
Well said, Denise. I mirror Denise in the sense when I was young, that interest in things that go bump in the night, right? The unknown, the paranormal, ghosts, spirit communication. I've had that interest since I was very, very young. The very first encounter I had, I would say about 4.5 or 5 years old in Las Vegas. And like you, Denise, my parents let me watch the original version of Poltergeist. And here I was like, 5, 6? They let me watch it. And, my parents are great, but I think they probably just sensed that maybe I had an interest and they were okay with it and sat down and watched it with me. So, but yes, so this interest in the paranormal just stayed with me growing up. And as I got older, I would read, watch anything having to do with the paranormal. And so, and I'll keep this very short, but getting actually out in the field and starting to investigate and research it started after I had a very profound experience with my maternal grandmother, Helen Lopinto. And I was a senior year in undergraduate college when this happened. And so this very profound experience actually propelled me out in actively investigating the paranormal. So I really credit her for that. But as an author, I really look up to, I say this every show we do, I really look up to Marie and Denise. They're not only amazing researchers, but they're amazing authors. I consider myself a baby author in comparison to them because they've written so many books. So, but it's really been a wonderful experience collaborating with them on this book. So I'm excited.
Very cool. So, Denise, I want to ask real quick because you talked about doing screenplays and everything. So, what kind of screenplays were you working on that you can share?
Well, we've worked on, I think we have close to like, I want to forget that number. We have somewhere between 15 to 17 screenplays that are in a variety of different kinds of genres. We do love horror and thriller and sci-fi. We're working on slow but surely working kind of type of movie. That's our first chance to write a screenplay for that. So those are our main focus. Anything to do with horror, thriller, sci-fi, combination, those types of things. Yeah.
That's so awesome. I'm so proud of you both. My goodness.
Well, it keeps us out of trouble. So
yeah, right.
So if we're not writing books, if we're not writing fiction books about it, we have to write. Hopefully, so somebody will snap one of those and we'll
get
one of their horror. We have one. She called it a thriller. That's where put it. It's called. God, my own movie. And so they changed the name from the original the screenplay.
Oh, that's right, they did. Yeah, that's so cool. I mean,
Secrets Beneath the Floorboards.
To see your name though on the screen, I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh.
Well,
I know these two gals.
It was a weird feeling, believe me. It was like, wow, this is something I've been doing since I was a little kid. I'm actually doing it. Wow. So, but yeah, it's one of those strange titles. It's on the Lifetime Movie Network. So they sometimes will change the titles of, movies that you've written. They'll change the title for whatever reason.
Yeah.
To fit more with what they're looking for, that kind of thing. So.
Very
so
cool.
Which one is your favorite that you've actually wrote?
Oh my gosh, that's tough. Well, we have a TV pilot that is actually one that I'd really love to see get out there. And that one doesn't really have a lot of paranormal in it. It's more of a police procedural one that's set in New Orleans. But it does kind of have little hints of what you might find in New Orleans and the atmosphere and the possibilities of there being something paranormal, but maybe not quite. So there's a little bit of that going on. So that one, but there's so many different things that we've written that we've liked writing screenplay wise. I can't even think which one to mention because we like every one of them.
Right. So do you write the books and that based on actual things that you've heard, like legends and stuff like that, if what people have told, being passed down through the years, or is it just all fictional? And
actually, now that you mention it, I would say one of our favorites, if I think of it right now, is called the Andersonville Horror, which is actually about paranormal events in the Andersonville prison during the American Civil War. And that was originally an idea I had, and Marina and I started talking about it. And it's it's nothing like anybody's seen before, because again, who would think about doing a paranormal movie about something in the Civil War? And it does have to do, I'll just throw it out there, dogmen. So it's very, very unusual. And it's gotten quite a few placements and contests and things. So, that one is a real favorite.
Wow. It sounds cool.
Dogman's always fascinated me. I don't know if it's like a distant cousin to Bigfoot. Probably not. But I've heard stories where they're often not necessarily seen, but people might experience them together. So I don't know.
Yeah, this is
maybe they were at the pub.
right.
Come to think of it, I didn't even know what Dogman was until last year. I was on somebody else's show and they asked us, what do you think about Dogman? I'm like, who?
Oh, what?
Yeah. That happened to me, actually. I was on our friend Andy Decode's show in the UK, and one of his people in the chat room said, "Oh, you're in Texas, right?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, So you know Dogman? I'm like, who? I know him live. What are we talking about here? And they're like, yeah,
I hear him now.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Our neighbors are working on something, and our dogs just decided it was time to go make themselves known. But yeah, I was surprised, and so I did research on the Dogman and did a little video before I was doing podcasts about it, and before I knew about voicing over and everything. So it was like purely research, and I was surprised to look at all the counts, all the claims and everything, and find out my determination was you cannot predict where and when a Dogman will appear, because it can be day, night, hot, cold. So there's like no pattern.
Yeah.
Sneaky like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we did another screenplay actually that's got black-eyed children in it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like Black Desert. Yeah, Black Desert. It's a bunch of Marines out in the desert that encounter kids.
That's another one. That's just fascinates me to no end. Black-eyed children.
Yeah. It's weird how they're just, I don't know, they're in every single country as well, but for what I know. I mean, we've got them down at Cannock Chase in the UK.
Yeah.
My daughter, when she worked in a casino, apparently there was reports of black-eyed children being seen in there as well.
Wow.
So it seems to like be one of these phenomena that's around the world. I mean, it's amazing how these get around without obviously a passport. So
no, exactly. I know, exactly. And just having them everywhere, it seems.
Yeah.
More reports, more people talk about it, more people are open to talking about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We have our first question from the chat room. Matt is asking, is Dogman similar to a werewolf?
I think it is. I think it could be. Maybe people have seen them in the past, and that was a part of the whole, medieval scare of, lycanthropy and all of that kind of stuff going on. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was one of the ideas that was in people's heads that has just kind of gone on from there. But maybe not. Maybe it's something entirely different.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you could have like 10 different cultures and they might all have a different description or a different idea of who he is or who she is even. But I forget who I was talking to, but there was a story where someone was camping out. I want to say this was Canada, but there were two different accounts. They thought Bigfoot and then also maybe Dogman. So I don't know. I don't know if they're related or not or whatnot, but it's intriguing.
Yeah, they're very good at hiding the both of them as well. So,
yeah.
So, not shifting gears too much though, but Nicole, you have an interesting background with the Queen Mary. You investigate the Queen Mary.
I do.
Hear about that?
Yeah, so it's interesting how the Queen Mary kind of fell in my lap symbolically. I have been researching, well, of course, the history of the ship. You can go a lifetime and not know enough about the Queen Mary. So I've been really heavy into the history side of it and the paranormal side of it for 20 years. And I'll keep this short. My first introduction to it was in 2000, and I was out here for spring break. And so I first saw the ship from a backseat of a car, and I just kept staring at it. And we were actually going on a cruise for 3 days. There's a Carnival cruise port right next door. And so I just kept staring at this Queen Mary, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just have to go back there one day. So that came in about 2005. So we're going on 20 years, and just fell in love with the Queen Mary the second I stepped on board, almost like an instant connection, soul connection, if you will. So it took off from there, and I've just been researching it heavily on both the history and the paranormal side for about 20 years, and have written 3 books. I'm starting a 4th one as well on it. So yeah, it's a love. It's definitely has a huge part in my soul. So
yeah.
So
Do you think?
curious? Yeah, go ahead, Cal.
No, it's okay. I'll let you do your question first, Michael.
So I'm curious because of all the claims around the pool area, and my guest that said when she was there, she didn't really get to go in the pool area because they had it blocked off for working. Have you been in the pool area where it's open, and what have you experienced in there?
oh yeah, many times. Right now, just because there's safety issues and they're doing construction and whatnot, it's not open. They do allow you on the tours. They'll take you to the bottom level, and you're allowed to like peek in. But I've actually been inside it many times. I've investigated it. I think that it just gets more claims because people go there on the tours. It's a hotspot location, but a lot of the tours will go there. And so because of that, it's had more claims. But I also think, I mean, obviously it has many stories attached to it as well. So it's considered one of the hotspots of the ship. So I've had all kinds of experiences in there, from shadow people sightings to apparition sightings to disembodied vocalizations to hearing phantom swimming. Now there's still the pool basin, but there's no water in there, so you can hear phantom footsteps, you can hear like phantom swimming, you name it. But yeah, I've had a lot of experiences in there over the years.
Very cool. And so Denise and Nicole, I'm kind of curious, what got you and Marie together to say, let's do a book on women in the paranormal? What made you guys sit down and go, we're the ones that need to write this book?
I think it was Marie's idea originally, if I understand right. And then of course, Nicole and Marie got together on that, and then invited me in on it. And I think it's really just the fact that they're women, if you think about it, have been kind of the backseat people in the paranormal. A lot of the TV shows when they first came out, that kind of thing, have always been about the guys who are the ghost hunters. And as time has moved on, you've seen more and more women get involved in some of the shows, but also a lot of women have been doing the paranormal investigation who are not on TV shows. So we were interested in talking with women some who have been on television and TV shows, but mostly those who are kind of in the background that nobody knows about, who've been doing the work for decades in some people's cases. And I think that was the thing we really wanted to bring to the forefront.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing to obviously bring up. I mean, because you wouldn't, like years ago, you wouldn't have thought that women would want to do something like this. But I mean, the amount of women that love this kind of.
Oh, and it was so hard to narrow down too. I mean, what are there? I think there is it around 25? I should know the number. There's so many women in the book, but my goodness, it was hard to narrow down. But it's interesting because there are women featured that are cryptozoologists, or they're into ufology, they're psychic mediums, they're authors, podcasters, afterlife researchers, you name it. And so it's a nice compendium of a bunch of different valuable researchers in the field. So I really enjoyed working on it with you both. I thought it was great.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was a new thing for all 3 of us, really. Even though like Marie, Nicole had more experience with nonfiction writing and things like that, it was a great experience, because I think if we ever did it again, like if we ever decided to put together a second book, it would be even easier to do, I think, because
absolutely
we would have had the experience of how to do it.
Absolutely. And I think the three of us work really well together. I really enjoyed it. It just gelled really nicely. I'm proud of it. Very proud of it.
You should be.
Yeah, and it's funny how you talk about a book two, because I was about to ask, is there a book two? And if so, you should talk to Kel.
That would be amazing. Yeah. All right. It's noted right here.
That's right. There are so many ladies that didn't, know about it until later on, or that we didn't know about it, so that we could approach them. And there must be dozens upon dozens of other women who have been doing this, even if they haven't been doing it for 30 or 40 years or something like that, but who are deep into it.
Yeah.
Have done a lot and experienced a lot in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I've been experiencing things since I was a child, but I got into it in about 2012 when I decided to join a group. I'm mostly in the historical research side of it.
Lovely.
And then, it tied in nicely with the job I used to do, because I used to work around night time and obviously walk around wearing black. So I was a bouncer. So there you go. So it's like, obviously I just sort of like transitioned into the paranormal after that. Well, around about the time I was doing that. So yeah, it's amazing how many women though actually are doing it now and creating their own teams and stuff like this. And it's like, no offense to the men, I'm not like a feminist or anything like that, but it's nice to see women out there, like obviously not being afraid, if that makes sense.
Of course.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah, and you make a good point there, because I think a lot of women, if they were to see this book and read this book, if they were interested in it before, this would kind of open their eyes to the idea that there's nothing to be afraid of, and that, they can get outside of their box if they're in one, and just go for it if they're interested in it.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably, the myth has been all along that women are not as interested in it, when I think they have been. It's just that they've been discouraged over millennium, from being interested in it, or expressing that they're really interested in it.
Yeah, I'm totally
right. And I would say probably this season have met more female paranormal investigators and had them on my Tuesday night show. And it surprises me how the different niches that they all form. Like, I had a group that was models that go out and also investigate, or our sisters and they go and investigate together, or just girls, because that's their name, is Texas Girls Ghost Hunting, so that's why I say girls that just got together and decided to ghost hunt and form a team. And so I was like, yeah. And so I've met, and the first team I collaborated with when I started investigating was called Ghoul Gals, and it was an all women's team. And so I was like, yeah. And I feel like, yeah, they're the unsung people. And I had a guest on my show who was like trying to raise awareness of women and in the paranormal field, and was like, yeah, the true first paranormal investigator was a woman in the 1800s. And I was like, never heard of her. And she's like, most people haven't. And it was sad to hear that.
Yeah.
Can you remember who that was then, Michael?
That interview was back in March or April, so no, I don't have the recall.
The first female paranormal investigator. Do you know her name?
No, I can look it up though.
I think I've heard. I can't think of the name, but I know I've heard of it.
I mean, the only people I've ever heard of is like
Catherine Crowe. Catherine Crowe, but I'm sure there's more, obviously, besides her. But yeah, Catherine Crowe would be one of them.
Actually, that lady who built the
I think it is house? Catherine Crowe is the one I'm thinking of. She coined the term paranormal.
Wow.
Well, if it goes back to, and we even have a chapter in the book, Women on the Fringe, on spiritualism, and how even that movement actually brought women to the forefront. They could go out and public speak, and of course it was fraught with deception and whatnot, but yet it gave women a voice. psychic mediums a voice to just go out there and teach people what they knew. And so I think that we're seeing that parallel now in even today's society. Of course, it's advanced the field, but women do have a voice now. And I think it's important. It's important for men as well. But for women, I think we're learning that women can do just as much as men can. They can use scientific methodologies. They can work with equipment. They're bright and smart, and they can do just as well, if not even better than some men. Now, I don't take that the wrong way, but I'm not a feminist or anything, but it's the book gives a voice to women.
Men here.
Yeah, no, I'm not at all. Yeah, no, I mean, it's
we know.
Whether you're a man or a woman, if you love what you do and you have a passion and devotion for this field, the sky's the limit. So,
exactly. The one thing I like to share is, society has a major role to play in this, because I remember growing up and always being told, like, intuition is a female thing. Guys don't have an intuition. And I was like, okay. So they're like, you have a gut. And I'm like, cool. So we have gut feelings where women have intuition. And then I was like, as I grew up, I started looking at it and going, what is the difference? And someone goes, there isn't one. It just sounds, I guess, more manly for guys to think they have gut feelings over an intuition. Because it was always women's intuition.
It sounds like something my father would have said way back in the day, because he was a sheriff's deputy, and his intuition, I think, was really, really good. But he didn't believe in anything paranormal or anything like that. If you had said it to him, he would have been, no, that's just good police, work, blah-de-blah-de. But I think he was actually using his gut, his intuition to get him some of the results he was trying to get. So, yeah, it's just a matter of wording, I think, that to kind of make it acceptable to certain people, I think, at the time.
Right.
Yep. And Matt's asking, have either of you seen a full body apparition?
I have not seen one with my eyes. I'm a medium, a psychic medium. So the way that I see spirit is usually actually in my mind's eye. And so as of yet, I haven't actually seen one that I know of, unless I've been someplace and there's been one that looks exactly like a real person and I was looking at them and didn't know that's what I was looking at. I suppose that's possible.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But other than that, I haven't personally, no.
You bring up a good point, though, because with our mind's eye, I mean, is it possible that we may think that we're seeing something actually with our physical vision, but yet it is our mind's eye, or vice versa? Because I've seen many, but again, I wonder, is it the mind's eye or is it the physical vision? Are they obviously connected? Maybe can you know what I mean? I guess I'm not making myself clear.
No,
but
I know what you mean. Yeah, I think
you are actually.
Yeah, I think to me, and I'm coming from the mediumship portion of things, so other people might think of it differently than me. But that's actually one of the reasons why I didn't know that I was a medium at first for a really long time, until a very short time ago, because I expected that to be the only way that mediums see apparitions, or that they see the spirits of the dead, is that way. And so the experiences that I'd had since I was a little kid, that if I'd known differently, that wasn't how everyone sees them, I would have had more of a clue that that's what I was doing. I just thought it was my grandiose imagination as a person who likes to write. And some of it is that. And, I have to differentiate between that and a spirit. So I think it's different. And I think people have their own talents on how they perceive, whether something is in the room with them. People might hear something that someone else can't hear. Someone might see something that someone else can't. Someone might feel something that someone else can't. And that might just be because that person, that's kind of where their talent lies, on how they pick up things that are going on.
Yeah.
Different for everybody, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. I know. I mean, I've seen many. I've seen partially manifested, fully manifested. The most profound, and this is before I actually started in the field, working in the trenches and investigating, was seeing my grandmother. And it was full bodied. But again, I thought, am I projecting that? You know, I was very close with my grandmother. She had just passed away. Was it some sort of like bereavement hallucination, anything like that? But here she was when I saw her. She was 96 when she passed away. She looked like she was in her 70s. She looked vibrant. She didn't say anything, but there she was standing right there. And it was weird because it looked as though there was a spotlight like shining against her. So it created this halo effect around her. But again, it was, it was quite profound.
I want to go back and touch on something that Denise mentioned, and that was, you know, you've seen it with your mind's eye, so you're conversating, thinking you're talking to an actual person. And I look at history and how many people maybe in the 1700s and 1800s that were locked up and drugged up because they looked like they were talking to themselves.
Right.
It might have been mediums that were talking with the spirits that were there.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And if you think about it, it's still something I think that like kids probably have experienced, where their parents will take them to the psychologist or the psychiatrist and say, my kid's, you know, doing this, that, or the other. And there's probably been quite a few kids that have been put on some kind of medication for something that is not, you know, and I'm not saying that in every case that this would be the case, but there would be some kids probably who were seeing real spirits and they got medicated. They got it medicated out of them, basically.
And that's so sad.
Another way of saying it is like, how many times have you actually seen a ghost and not realized it because they've looked like a normal person when you've been walking down the street?
Right.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it kind of goes to people's guts and stuff when they're like, get funny feelings about other people. You know, what part of you is picking that up about somebody, especially if it's somebody that maybe you've never met before, you haven't said anything to them yet, and yet you may get an awful feeling about that person. What is that all about?
Right. And Matt brings up an interesting one about seeing him on a live video call, and I was getting ready to do a show, and this lady, you know, was in her house, and there was like this little window area to another section of the house, and all of a sudden this man walks by, and I guess I kind of looked a little strange, and she laughed and goes, "No, that was my husband walking by. Our stairs are right there." And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, did I just see an apparition walk by? And so how many times on shows, though, have people had somebody walk in a room and they don't know it because they don't see behind them?
Right, yeah, right.
It's I do know that the one that Matt was on about, we were both sitting on a video call and he was eating his dinner at the time. And I seen a woman in the room behind him, and he looked a little bit weird. He like looked into the camera weird. And I thought, oh, he's seen her as well, or is somebody just walked into his house? So I asked him, I was like, who's the woman in the back room? And he went, you've seen her too? I was like, yeah. He went, I've just seen her behind me as you like asked that. And then obviously she was gone. And it turns out it was his ex-girlfriend from years ago who took her own life.
Oh my God.
And we've both seen her on that video call. And there's been another time that me and Matt were on a video call. And basically he took a screenshot of me talking to him on the video call. And then when we zoomed in, I had a window behind, and my dad was looking out the window, and my dad had been dead for about 2 years at that point. And he's wearing the exact same clothes as where I've got a photo of him. And he's identical to where he was in the photo, but obviously he was standing there. You could see the reflection of him, and I've still got that photo. So that was interesting.
Wow, that I have goosebumps right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's amazing what, like, obviously the digital age is picking up now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot more people obviously like taking photos, and strange things are turning up. And I mean, we used to have normal photos back in the day that used to do that, but it's like now we can analyze them even better, like zoom in on them to see what they actually are. So I think the digital age is definitely obviously helping with this sort of thing.
But you're talking about ghosts and things like that. One thing that I noticed when we lived in, my husband and I lived in England for 3 years, and while we were there in Britain and a lot of different places, Scotland and Wales, I noticed that my experiences that I had there were definitely more intense. And I just kind of felt like when I got there that things were just kind of thick is the word that I used, because it would feel like I would walk in somewhere. It could be a castle, it could be an old house, and I'd feel like I was walking through something that was very heavy, and not heavy necessarily in a bad way. It could be that, but it felt, when people talk about feeling history,
Yes,
that was what I would get. And it's not that I've never gotten that here in the US, but it was just like everywhere, when I went to Britain. So it's kind of a weird thing.
Do you think that's because of like the history that we've got compared to what you used to over there? Because obviously
absolutely,
yeah,
for sure. that and I'd always wanted to go to England, so I was, my ancestry and stuff is from Britain, so it was just kind of a thrill to do all that. So,
well, actually,
called you over.
Yeah, and talking about the history of the U.S., there is a huge chunk of history that we have not been told about. And I was talking with a scientist about it. And if you look on the back of Phoenician coins in BC, it has the Mississippi River. And they say on the Mississippi River are a bunch of caves of mines, copper mines, where they found these tools. And they thought, people were recently working there, and they tested it all and found out they're all from BC. And they looked at a map that showed like where all the copper or gold mines would be in BC, and the US was the major. And so he was like, yeah, the US was populated in BC. So we actually have as much history as England, but nobody wants to say there were people here before Columbus found us, so they don't share that part of history. And I'm like, it's strange to me that it's like, why is history such a big deal of needing to hide something because they don't want to rewrite a book? When how many times have we rewritten the book? So what difference does it make?
I was just thinking of all the textbooks in the schools and thinking like, oh yeah, that would need to be edited a little bit, rewritten a little bit.
The thing is, though, it's like obviously every single continent has always had people on them. It's like Australia, they say like 200 and whatever years old it is. But it's like it's had the indigenous people there like for like, well, ever since time began type of thing.
Right.
So it's like that'll be the same with America. So there's definitely been people there regardless.
Oh yeah, and if you if people had in the past paid more attention to what the Native American people had to say about their history instead of trying to shove it under the carpet, then we would have known about some of those things a long time ago, I'm sure. And it's just like archaeology stuff, which I'm obsessed with as well.
Oh yes.
Things like that get changed. And archaeologists are usually pretty good about changing their mind about things as soon as they do find out new information. And because that's all a part of the excitement of finding new things out.
Right.
To get more and more info about stuff that you didn't know about before.
Yeah.
To me, though, I feel like the difference of why the UK feels more paranormal active than US is because how many times can you put the UK in the US? Let alone like the fact that it's like 4 times for the size of Texas. So it's such a small island, and I'm not meaning it like small, like that matter. I just mean area wise.
It might seem small to you, Michael, but to us, it's like trying to travel from one side to the other. It's like takes absolutely ages for us, but we're just used to that. It's like like it takes you like days and days and days or weeks or whatever to get from one side to the other, where it takes from where I live to get from the east side to the west side, it only takes less than an hour. But to get down to the bottom of the country, it can take up to about 9, 10, 11 hours. So it's still quite a distance.
Right. That's what I mean, is it's not small by any means. But when you look at landmass of, if I was to go east coast to west coast of the U.S., that's like a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or north to south is a week. In Texas alone is 1 day to go from west to east.
Yeah. The funny thing about it, like I've got friends in America that will go to me, oh, I've got a friend in England, do you know who they are? And they'll tell us the name, and I'll go, England's quite a big place, it's like I don't know everybody.
That's okay. I have a British friends who came from Britain to Alabama to visit some other American friends of theirs, and the woman in that couple, she was from Manchester, and she hadn't actually traveled very far, and her husband had been around the world in his job. And she calls us up and she says, can you come over, love? It'll be a couple hours to get over here. And we're like, no, honey, that's it's gonna be hours. We can't come over there,
Yeah, that's funny.
She didn't really have it. She wasn't thinking about it, but it was funny.
Yeah. So Denise, Matt is asking, where in England did you used to live?
We lived in Ramsey 40-foot, which even a lot of British people don't know where that's at. It's not that far from Huntington, really, in Cambridgeshire. And my husband worked at RAF Molesworth. If that helps.
Okay. I don't know where that is.
Yeah, I told you. Well, it's very tiny. The village itself is very tiny.
Did you say Cambridgeshire?
Cambridgeshire, yeah.
Yeah, I know where that is. I don't know the village. So
yeah, it's about, if you were to go through Huntington, and it's before you would get to like Ely, and Lake and Heath and Mildenhall. It's kind of in between those two areas, and it's kind of southeast of Peterborough.
Right. Yeah, I think I've got a rough idea where it is. Yeah. So, where was the most haunted place that you've experienced when you were in the UK?
Oh, it has to be the Southbridge tunnels in Edinburgh.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I want to go there.
I'd love to visit that. Oh my gosh.
It was, yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Well, the next time you're in the UK, you have to visit the ancient ram. That is absolutely amazing there.
It sounds like it'd be great.
Oh, God, it is.
Yeah. Jonathan Rowland is chiming in, trying to try going to Australia for size. He drove from Perth to Sydney once, and his navigation unit told him to drive straight for 8 days and then turn left.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
I would love to hear
There's a road trip for you right there. Hey, road trip lovers.
I would just love to hear the nav unit be like, yeah, you're going to go straight on this road for 3 days, and then we're going to make a turn, and be like, doing what?
Yeah, I'd be getting a bit worried after like the first couple of days if my sat nav never said anything.
Yeah.
I'd be turning around, going home, saying, right, it's broke.
Yeah, I could see the nav unit every like 6 hours chiming in going, we're still awake. You just have a ways to go.
Only 7 more days.
Yeah.
8 hours and 22 minutes to go.
Or better yet, be like at the end of the day of the 8-day trip. Congratulations, you survived 1 day. 7 more to go. And then it'd be like 6 more to go.
Oh, God.
And then it makes me think too of like, let's see, geology and ley lines and how those all play into everything. Because I know in Southern California, we do have a lot of ley lines, but I imagine obviously running through the UK too.
Yeah. The Ancient Ram, obviously I'm the host there. They have one of the ley lines that go through Stonehenge that cuts through there as well.
Right.
So it's they think that some of the activity could possibly be done that, but there's also a 5,000-year-old pagan burial mound. Well, not mound, but a pagan burial ground that's underneath it. So the pagans, what did they know? I mean, they must have realized about ley lines back then, because they seem to arrange the burial sites around these ley lines.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah. So Matt's asking, what's your most compelling evidence of ghosts in the afterlife?
Ooh. Wow. That's a tough one. And I'm assuming, does he mean just more like concrete evidence, like an EVP or a photograph, or just more subjective, or just in general?
I think he's probably meaning the best, that your favorite type of thing.
Okay.
Maybe. I think.
Oh man. There have been so many for me, but I'll share this briefly. I lost my cat Kaylee, and she had a brother Max, and who passed away in 2016. So I lost her. It was December 19th of 2021. Very close to all my animals, very close to Max and Kaylee. And I've never actually had this with any other animal. I don't know why, but I've had about 25 very profound dream visitations with Kaylee's spirit. So we're talking, they always occur in the same environment. It's exactly how I am when I'm sleeping. So they occur in the same room. I'm laying in bed, how I'm laying in bed. The lighting is the same, and Kaylee will come through. And I've felt her. I've heard her. I've been able to hold her. I've been able to like feel her purring and her warmth. And one of the last visitations I had, in the dream visitation, she was actually laying kind of on my chest and I was petting her. And then in front of me, which is right in front of my bathroom door, actually you can see it in the video screen. That door is the bathroom door. So, and the bed is right in front of that. So in the dream visitation, as I was laying, she was on my chest. And then all of a sudden, right in front of that bathroom door, a beach ball sized orb of light appeared. And it had weird jagged edges. And so here I am, and I could see it from my vantage point in the dream visitation. And then here Kaylee was laying on my chest. I saw her stand up, and she looked like a black silhouette in front of the light. And so I saw her stand up on top of my chest. She turned toward the light. Her head turned toward the light. She then kind of looked back at me a little bit, and then I saw her propel right through it. And then I woke up. So these 25 or so dream visitations, and they're all like the same environment, coming through. I'm able to spend some time with her. To me, I don't know. That's one of them for me. It just, there's something to that, I think.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I actually think it's amazing how you're talking about, is it Kaylee and Max? Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Kaylee and Max. Max was her brother. Yeah.
That's the name of my daughter and my grandson.
Yeah. Oh, how cool. There they are here.
Oh.
Yeah. So Max is the one with the more white on, and then there's Kaylee. So there they are. Yeah. So
cute.
Max. Oh, I love the name Max.
So yeah.
Cute. Oh.
Very cute.
Yeah.
I was just going to go back to asking you about the Queen Mary. Since you had such like an affinity with it, do you think that you might have been there in a past life?
Oh, yes, I think I might have. I've had a few past life regressionists contact me saying, "Oh my gosh, yes, you definitely have some sort of connection." I don't know exactly what that is. I do feel strongly that there was one on the Titanic as well.
Wow.
So, but the Queen Mary, there's definitely something there. I just don't know exactly what it is.
So do you think it's just like your past lives have arranged around ships?
Probably. I get that. Yeah, definitely with the Titanic. I feel very strongly with the Titanic, and the Queen Mary. And see, the Titanic and the Queen Mary are often compared to one another too. So, and there's some historical connection between the two. But yeah, the Queen Mary, I don't know exactly what that is, but maybe I will someday find out. Maybe I won't. But yeah, it's a strong love for it. So
yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious, Denise and Nicole, as paranormal investigators, one of the goals we have is like, Matt kind of hit on was, the afterlife. What is the afterlife? What experiences have you had in the paranormal that you were like, is your aha that was like, yes, there is an afterlife. This has totally concreted to me. There is an afterlife.
Go for it, Denise. I kind of hogged the last couple of minutes there.
No,
Sorry.
No. Probably for me, actually, my mediumship, because
Mhm.
I say that because even though I'd had lots of experiences since I was a little kid, when I started doing readings for people, two very strange things started to happen that I didn't expect. And one of those was I was picking up on people seeing spirits who had either passed by murder or suicide in particular. And what was weird about that is I was getting, people coming to me for readings, probably expecting maybe their mom or their grandmother or somebody to come through. And I would get this person who they didn't expect at all. And, or even if they did, there was one reading where the lady had shown me a picture of someone that they wanted to contact, and it was a young teenage girl. And I had seen in my mind's eye, I saw this girl pushing aside, as if I was in her body, pushing aside a closet door and then pushing the clothes aside like this. And I just kind of knew all of a sudden, I was like, wait a minute, did she hang herself in this closet? And the woman was just thrown for a loop because she hadn't said anything about that. I knew that it was going to be a young person that she wanted to contact, but that was what had happened to the girl. And she was trying to get more information maybe on why she had done this. But I kept getting that with people who didn't actually expect for me to bring that person through at all, because it might have been an acquaintance or something like that. And I would give them details about, what happened or who the person was, that kind of thing. And that really cemented it for me. That, and if I was able to bring through like some really weird factoid that nobody but that person and the person who had passed away knew about. And that made it concrete for me because there was no other way I could explain that to myself, how I would know that. And how I would have those messages that I could pass on to that person. And that sort of made the kind of icing on the cake for me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think too, synchronicity, I think is I call it one of the, in my opinion, maybe one of the gateways to maybe understanding more this connection that us mortals have with those in the afterlife. And for me, it's not just one experience in particular, but I've had many profound experiences with not just my animals, but departed loved ones and friends. I know they've passed, but yet there's that communication that we have. And it's kind of hard to put that in words, but when you have that and it's a synchronous type of experience, you can't doubt it. And so I've had many of those types of experiences, and you just know in your heart that, okay, when we pass on, we don't just evolve to nothingness. There is something there. Is it an afterlife? I don't know. Life after death. I guess people have different names for it, but I do think our soul, our essence, what makes us us, that lives on. And so I think that's what we can communicate with.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And so I'm curious, Denise and Nicole, with writing the book, Women on the Fringe, what is your goal that you would like to see in the future of the paranormal field? Like, now that you've written the book and everything, what's your hope and goal of the future of the field?
Good question. Wow.
That is a good question. It racks the brain. Yeah, I got to think about that.
I think.
Thanks one, Michael.
Yeah, good one.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, for me, I think it's just an opportunity. I think there's going to be more and more opportunities for women and just people, men and women, together to expand this field. And just, you have so many more social media type opportunities for people to stream their experience. They're out there ghost hunting. There are teams that are streaming all those experiences on YouTube, for example. And it isn't just relegated to a network somewhere on a television.
Right.
Now there are all of these opportunities for people to get out there and do stuff. And I think that's just going to keep on going. I don't see that ever will stop.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. I think that it's, I think technology has helped and social media has helped. And I encourage people, if you want to do this sort of work, it takes time, it takes patience. And if you really love what you do, you will find the right people. I know that's how it's been for me. And so, but yeah, like Denise said, I think there's going to be a lot more opportunities, not just for women, but for men as well. And, it's about learning from one another, right? No man is an island.
Yeah.
I always like to remind myself of that. We're all in this together sort of thing, I'd like to think. So
yeah.
What about you guys? That's a good question. What about you guys on that?
Michael?
Well, for me, I would like to see less drama and more collaborations and more
Right on.
everybody supporting each other. And, even if you have a difference of opinion on techniques or equipment usage, that you just accept that's how they do it. This is how you do it. Expose both to people, let them choose, and that the field grows that way. And I have to say, in my heart too, I would like to see women being equal on the field of men in the paranormal and have the same, exposure and opportunities of, doing shows or doing podcast interviews or television shows or movies, not just everyone saying, oh, well, this is the man who started it all. Well, every man had a woman next to him. What was her role like, and
Yeah.
share the whole story and not just part of it.
Yeah.
Please.
Well said.
I think with me, I agree with Michael. It's the drama and the whole paranormal community. There's a lot of people that quite get jealous of like other people, what they've got, and like things that they capture and stuff like that. And it's like it's really honestly the argument's not worth it. But what I really would like to see in the future is a lot of these places are charging people an absolute fortune to get in. It's like there's no really need to charge that much. It's like they're just I find like a lot of places are quite greedy, but there is a lot of places that do quite a decent rate, and that's what we need to see. More places like that who want to do it for the historical integrity instead of doing it for the money, basically.
Well said. I love that. Historical integrity. That I like how you said that. That's cool.
I am quite impressed with myself seeing that tonight because I am having a
that's right there.
Night.
Historical integrity. I like that. Good job on that.
Matt's just said that have either of you encountered a spiritual attachment, and is that something a medium can help break? Because Matt actually feels that he has one. So,
wow. I personally don't believe I've ever had an attachment myself. As far as whether a medium could help break it, it would depend on perhaps if the medium was able to just pick that up in a reading to see if there was something. But I don't think that every medium is capable of doing that just because it's not their niche, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And so that would just depend on the medium, I would think. Really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good answer. Yeah, I've never actually had one that I've known myself either. So
maybe a medium that's Reiki trained as well.
That's me.
Reiki's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Well, and it's also too, I think I've heard, at least there's been a theory running around that sometimes the attachment thing might actually be something to do with a past life that the person has experienced. So it's really a spirit that's attached to them, but they're picking up on some of their own past life experience.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
Or and then for some too, it may not even be spiritual. It could be something that maybe they're creating, like a tulpa or something like that, and that's a whole different ball game. So
Yeah.
differentiating first if it really is a spiritual attachment or if it's something like a psychological source projection or something like that. It's a whole different.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like if we're seeing his ex-partner, I get the feeling it's her because I can feel. I'm quite sensitive with things like that myself, and I can feel as though it's her hanging around. Because of obviously she was with him when she died, type of thing. So that's why we think it's like that's causing it, maybe.
Well, it could be, and it also could be that when if you did have a medium or psychic do a reading, they might be able to get information from her on why she's hanging around, or what are her intentions, anything like that, that she might be able to tell him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's why he's looking into it at the minute, to try and get somebody to look into if it is definitely that, and if he how we can get it taken away. So that would be good if we can find out exactly why if it is that.
Definitely.
I'm kind of curious your thought about if you go to a place where the energy is very different and you're spending a lot of time in there, it kind of wears on the person. So if you're getting tired from that and your energy is dropping from the exposure to that, can, like in Matt's example, being at a haunted location for a weekend, that takes a toll. Then returning, could the girlfriend be siphoning off because he's weakened and not realize she's doing that? And that's part of the problem, is she's used to him one way and does what she normally does, but because he's in a weakened state from being on a weekend under paranormal pressure, so to speak, that it's reacting differently.
Yeah. I would almost say, just throwing out, my first impression of that would be that he would also have to ask himself when he's going in there, is he doing enough to kind of surround himself with some kind of personal protection?
Yeah, I'll try and make sure that happens. Obviously, that's one of the things. I mean, I don't get affected the same way he does, so I make sure that he's got protection around him. So
great, yeah, well, that would help.
Yeah, but the trick with that though is, and I'm sorry to say this, Matt, but Cal could put 100% of things of protection around you, but if you don't believe it, it ain't gonna do any good. So there's that part too, is he has to want to protect himself from as well.
Yeah,
because I mean,
yeah, and if you're investigating, if it was investigating a particular place, it wouldn't necessarily have to be in the case of the relationship with the other person, but being in some place that Ancient Ram Inn or somewhere else like that, perhaps there are lots of different spirits that, if he himself actually has some kind of mediumship or psychic abilities, they may be attracted to him and wish to get messages through him, or they can tell who can see them and who can feel them, and that's why they're attracted to certain mediums or psychics, is based on that energy that, hey, that person can see me or whatever. So it could be like that. I don't know.
Yeah, which ties into his question: does religion play a part, and do you need faith?
I don't know.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I think it depends on I think a person could be like for example, an atheist, and have the ability to protect themselves
Mm-hmm.
in some way. And the fact that maybe they don't believe in any kind of spirituality could also perhaps protect them. And I think it depends on what your beliefs are as to how you experience something that happens to you.
And the part about do you need faith? I would say, faith in an outside source may or may not help, but the true key is to have faith in yourself. And so if you have faith in yourself and you do what you need to do for yourself, what you feel called to do, then I think that's more powerful than any outside force, in my opinion.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. I think you can have spirituality without necessarily being religious.
Yeah.
That's just my thought. I don't know anything about the situation, but just some friendly advice, I would just be open. And if you think it might be her, have a discussion with her and let her know that, that you're doing okay and that she's okay and that she's free to evolve and move on as she's supposed to, and just kind of giving her that faith and her that reassurance might help as well, if that's what it is. So
yeah.
Well,
so I think it would have given something to think about anyway.
right.
Yeah. And we've gone over the hour, I just noticed. And so, you have anything else you want to add, Kel or Matt?
I just, like I say, I mean, before I was really, really interested. Obviously, my granddad was a crew on the Queen Mary, so it was just that part of it that I was interested in.
Yeah.
Is there any other apparitions actually been seen as sailors on there?
Oh yes, yeah. There are quite a few stories and quite a few claims. Former crew, former commodores, former captains, World War II servicemen. They've all been seen and spotted. There's so many.
Yeah,
involving the Queen Mary. Yeah,
it makes us wonder whether my granddad actually goes and visits there. That would be amazing to find. Obviously, get a picture of him.
Right. That's interesting. If you ever come out here, let me know, and
I will do.
Definitely, you can ask him that. Well, you can ask him that where you are now, but I mean, that would be ask him, see what you get, what feelings you get. It's very possible.
It could be like a tether.
Right, absolutely. Well, and just one thing about the Queen Mary, and this may sound hokey and wonky to some people, but I do believe the ship itself is sentient. So you have her as that, and then it's like that interplay between the ship being sentient and then her spirits as well. So I think that kind of all plays into it.
Well, if you ever see a sailor there that's got the most biggest ears you've ever seen, that'll be my granddad.
Oh, what was his name again?
He was called James Ridley.
James Ridley. Okay, I'll keep that name in mind. Love it.
Cool.
Anything else, Michael?
I got my questions in, and I'm processing some of the stuff that came through too.
Good stuff.
Very interesting. Especially being obviously a woman in the paranormal field, and that this has been an interesting one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm really glad that I was able to get you all on, and that I brought it up to Kel and was like, yeah, we need to have these three on the show. And unfortunately, we got 2 out of 3, but still, we can always do, like we said, part 2 where we get the 3 of 3.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, that sounds
That'd be
good.
Great.
I've just noticed there that Matt's just said, do you think the afterlife could be a parallel dimension to ours?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that I love to say to people is to me, I think the best way to deal with the paranormal is to realize that you really don't know anything. I think a lot of people have decided there's just one way or the highway, and this is the only thing that's correct or whatever. But just like we were talking about history and how we find new things, I think that's what the afterlife is like, that you don't know until you're there.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I think we're given glimpses of what it may be, but we're not supposed to know everything. That's just what I think. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like I gotta point this out to you, Denise. Is your chair? I keep doing double takes, thinking there's a face behind you. The chair.
There might be. You never know.
That's funny. I love it.
Because you look at it right by her head, it's like where it's lighter, it looks like an eye socket. And I keep looking at the way it turns. It's like, it looks like the side of a face.
Mhm.
Well, good thing it's not spooky and dark back here, too. And I'm like, I love it. Gosh.
So one last question, and then we're gonna have to call it from Matt. Is are ghosts crossing into our dimension without realizing it, or do they have a choice?
I think they have a choice.
I think so too, especially, I mean, if you're dealing with residual energy, that's more like an imprint. That's one thing. But if you're dealing with actual intelligent energies, I like to think they do as well. Like, I don't ascribe to this, well, they're only stuck here. I really do think that there's a way to communicate beyond just where they might be thought to be. I mean, who are we to say that, okay, they're only, all right, they died there, that means they're only there. I mean, who are we to really say that, really?
Exactly.
So,
I mean, judging by that photo that Matt took when we were on the video call of my dad never really used to come to this house, so why would there be a reflection of him in the window? So so he's obviously coming to visit, so that's what I believe anyway. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and my favorite viewpoint of it is spirit and ghosts and all that is energy. And so how is energy that can be neither created nor destroyed stuck in a place? It's like, wait a minute, they're pure energy. They can go through walls, but yet they're stuck in this house.
It's what the living has ascribed to them. The living has created this idea that they're this or they're that or they're this or they're that, and we really don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. That's where I'm like, I'll say to people when they say it, I'm like, are you sure they're stuck? Because I don't know how we could make them stuck somewhere.
Yeah. And I think you take, we're all human, and even people who have abilities and things like that, which I think everybody does, our own little thought processes, our own prejudices, our own experiences are going to color all of that stuff.
Yes.
And that's it kind of makes it hard to say definitively this or definitively that.
Right.
Because you can get your mind changed in a blink if something happens and it's different than what you expected.
Oh, absolutely. Right. That's well said.
Right. So as we bring it to a close, what is next for you, Denise and Nicole?
Oh my gosh.
Go for it, Denise.
Well, hopefully writing more screenplays, writing more novels. In fact, Nicole is helping me with stuff for the Queen Mary, because I'm writing a end of World War II book. Wow. And the hero is coming back on one of the last voyages that the Queen Mary made from Southampton to New York as he comes back home from the war. And so I've been pickling my brain with tons of information from Nicole and other people on all of that, so that when I write it, hopefully it'll make sense and it won't sound like complete bunk.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. Come on now.
Well, I have to run it by you. I'm going to run it by you to make sure I don't hose anything up on the history. So
you'll be good. You'll be good.
Yeah.
Let's see. For me, I do a lot of presentations, so I'm continuing that on the paranormal. I'm starting a new show. It's called the Life Inspiration Project, so I'll be debuting that in January. And then, I swore that I said I would never do another book on the Queen Mary unless it's a second edition or volume to my third one. But here we are, and we're starting a fourth one. So I'm still trying to work the angle on that one. So, but this was awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yes. It's something that I'm going to have to do is buy the books. Definitely, 100%.
Yeah, and when you come out here, let me know.
I will
spend some time on there.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your book and your experiences with us.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
We love it.
Where can people find you if they have any questions for you both?
Well, for me, I have two websites, deniseagnew.com, which is my fiction writing and nonfiction writing. And for my mediumship, it's agnewcreativemedium.com.
Nice. And mine is Nicole, D as in dog, Strickland.com. And then I have my team's website, San Diego Paranormal Research.com. That I need to update that because if you go on it, you're gonna see it's outdated. So I need to update that. And just social media, Facebook, Nicole D. Strickland.
So. Which you all will be happy to know. I asked them for these links and they are in the description.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Yeah, Michael's on the ball. Yes, I'm glad somebody is tonight. Well, obviously us, the hosts, but I'm still half asleep. But yeah, it's been actually really, really interesting. We've covered quite a few topics, and yeah,
I feel like
for the ladies,
yay!
I feel like we've only for some reason, I get the feeling like we're only on the surface.
Yeah.
You guys have so much more. And so we definitely got to get you back on.
We'd love it. Sure. You bet. Anytime.
Sounds like a plan, guys.
All right. Well, when you're ready, Kel, you can send us out.
Okay, I just want to again thank the ladies for a wonderful show, and just want to thank everybody who's been in the comments, everybody with questions. You're all amazing. We love you all, and thank you for bearing with us where we've had our absence. We'll be back soon. We'll keep you updated with the next guest. And Michael, would you like to play the outro?
All right, so here we go, everyone. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.